Okay. Hey guys, I'm here with James Bentley. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm James Bentley. You probably have seen me creeping around in comment sections and such, but yes, this is the person behind the words, um, and and that's that. I think I'm an INTP, so that's cool, I guess. Um, and with that awkwardness out of the way, I think I'm done talking for now.
um, so this is our first interaction, obviously, like
Mhm.
video. Obviously we've talked on Facebook or like on YouTube before, but never like face to face. And my
Mhm.
one of my first impressions was maybe you could have you considered ISTP?
Uh, I've thought about it. I mean, it's possible.
Yeah.
I I'm I'm not super. I'm not dead set on it or anything like that.
Okay.
I
So this title might change one day.
the title the
Yeah,
title changes.
yeah, the title changes. So if ever the title changes, this is why. But um, I mean, like we were kind of talking about before we started, is it's not necessarily going to be just MBTI focused, anyways.
Hmm.
I guess I'll start off with so one of the things I know a lot about you is you like to draw and you're very
Yeah.
talented. Um, would you like to explain to people where you got that talent and how you started kind of cultivating?
Yeah. I I guess you could call me an artist of sorts, although it's a bit pretentious, I think, of a title. But I like to draw. I've been into drawing for a long time. Um, ever since I was probably I started drawing in elementary school. I've always been into like computer games and stuff like that, and for the longest time, I wanted to be a concept artist. Uh, although I don't really do a lot of that kind of art. I mostly just do a lot of like fancy line designs and stuff like that. And I actually have my sketchbook if you want to. If
Yeah.
I
Oh, I think everybody would love to see it.
Yeah, I can show some things that I've done. I actually have my shoes too. You can see
Yeah,
the
that would be cool.
color. I'm gonna put the light on. You can see my. I don't know if you saw my cat or not, but my cat's chilling on the back of the chair.
I don't think I saw that.
And she don't notice. I'm gonna turn her.
Oh my gosh, that's so cool.
Yeah, she's a lovely little thing. Okay, so this is one of the shoes that I've done. It's like a gray and black design. And as you can see, it's just kind of like a lot of like lines and stuff.
Yeah, it looks really good.
Yeah. And with this one, I wanted to do like a more symmetrical thing because the first pair that I did was color on a white pair, and it was just a really chaotic design. And this is a lot more balanced.
Yeah.
So this is the color one, and this is when I really just went nuts and did like all of this. Like you can see, there's like a mountain, and, and there's all the whatever that is. And this one has like a beach on it right there, like a tree and a sunset and all of that. And yeah, color. It's fun.
I think it looks cool. Especially I think it even looks cooler like than the photos that you sent to me. I think it looks better when you kind of can show it to me.
When you can actually see it and like rotate it around, it's like, oh, this is just a static photo. It's got um all all the you can see the different quirks of it, I guess, or something. Yeah, it's cool. I can get like sketchbook. There's one other thing that I'm gonna show right now that I think is good enough to show, I guess,
Okay.
because I'm super self-conscious about my art. People tell me that I'm talented, but I just tell them no. I'm all right. Okay. Okay, I'll show a couple. So this one is penciled. I did this when I went to my brother's wedding in Arizona earlier this year.
Wow. I don't know why it's.
And it's just
It was like focusing on me for a second. Here.
Oh, I think it's because of the way the video triggers is whoever's mic is activated.
Yeah.
Anyway, so that's one, and then I have a colored one that I did before that, and that's this. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that is.
I was thinking of like I could do designs like this and make like coloring books and stuff like that. That'd be pretty neat.
Yeah, I mean, that's a huge crate. People love like adult coloring books. I was about to say boots. Coloring books.
Coloring books. Hey, that right there, that's like $1 million idea. Coloring.
Yeah, there.
Oh, yeah.
So, how exactly do you think you got into art? Because you said that you've been doing it for a long time, but what exactly prompted you?
I guess maybe maybe I was first sort of enticed by drawing in particular. I've always liked drawing the most because I think like sketching and stuff like that is really fundamental, and it also allows you to do a lot more than you probably would think initially. Because, like, I mean, for one thing, you can just like create like a draft or something like that, which you can then just completely gloss over with paint or something like that. But you can also I like shading and like making texture and stuff like that. But anyway, back to what sort of initially inspired me to draw. My sister used to draw when I was really little, and I always thought that was really cool. And so I guess that was probably what prompted me to sort of get into it. I don't know. Other than that, it's just kind of been an intuitive thing. It's just like, well, I think I'm going to draw, and then I do it.
Yeah. That's interesting. I don't think everybody's like that. From what I've heard about people that are into art and stuff, I mean, I'm also into art, but
yeah, I've seen a couple like, so I think I saw something that you painted, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Do you paint?
Yeah, I do paint. But I don't.
I thought it looked nice.
What was it?
I thought it looked nice. It was a scene. It was like a coast scene or something like that, wasn't it? I might be thinking of something else. I saw something. It was like kind of colorful. I thought it was nice to look at.
Well, thank you. Yeah, you're one of the you're one of the earlier people that is actually friends with me on Facebook, because I think I've said this on my channel, is like I've kind of stopped adding people to Facebook too, because I mean, I think you can understand there's some really interesting.
Yeah. And it probably started blowing up a little bit.
It was, I don't know. It's just, I mean, it's not like I get that many requests, but I had this one person that really was just very odd. And so I like was like, after that, I'm like, like can't accept any more people unless I
Wow.
know them or whatever. But
And this whole time, I've thought that I was the weirdo, and I don't know.
oh,
I thought that I've been bothering you, like messaging you and stuff like that.
anybody, I feel like this is like a PSA right now. Anybody that like knows me in real life, there's only one person, and he knows who he is. There's only one person that I message all the time or like talk to all the time. But other than that, I am like so bad with messaging and so bad with that kind of stuff. I'm sorry that I saw like I come across like cold or distant or whatever. It's just I
I
do.
mean, and you've said that like you've put um that disclaimer out before, right?
Yeah.
Like, several times. Honestly, it's almost as pervasive as the I and the E are switched in socionics.
No, it's you got it wrong. You got it wrong. No, it's the F and the I mean the P and the J. It's the P
Oh
and
shit! Yeah, it is the P and the J.
it's the P and the
It's
J.
not the I and the E. Well, so for introverts, it's P and J. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So that's the only thing that switched in socionic.
Mhm.
It's the same like cognitive functions and stuff, but yeah, that's something that obviously needs to be told because
Clearly, it needs to be repeated more because I didn't remember it.
yeah, I mean maybe I should just have that as my intro, like, hey, it's pucokie, and then be like the P and the J are switched in sociotics for introverts. Um,
There you go.
but yeah, no, I mean I feel like there are certain things that I have to kind of like continue saying, but
Mhm.
you do not bother me. Um, again, I'm not like I said, besides one guy, one person, I am really you can ask any of my friends. I am not the best at like texting or messaging. Um, so it's
Mhm.
yeah.
All right, fair enough. I guess we can move past that.
Let's move fast. um,
Yeah.
what what got you into like typology and stuff?
Uh, I just sort of stumbled upon it like maybe a year ago or so. Um, I just don't. On started, it was just a rabbit hole that I ended up going down, and then I saw people throwing a bunch of letters around. I'm like, what does all this mean? And kind of looked into it, and I was like, oh, it's kind of neat. I guess it's like a framework,
Yeah.
useful to some degree, I'm sure. So I thought that was pretty cool, and I kind of got into that a little bit, and I enjoyed watching the videos that a lot of people put out, you included. Uh, I especially liked some of the more philosophical videos that kind of just go off on tangents about different concepts, but that's kind of just me. Like a lot of the time, I'll just sit down and just kind of space out thinking about stuff.
Yeah.
Hey, calm down.
That one's video.
It's because you've seen Bob before, and this little gray cat is her name is Norris, and she hates Bob like with a passion.
Oh, really?
Yeah, every time that she sees him, she gets all growly and just. It's because he's kind of like the outsider. He wasn't always living here,
Mm-hmm.
but we ended up bringing him over because he's an old cat that I used to have when I lived at a different house, and now he's here, and he's awesome. He's a great cat, but doesn't get along too well with the other ones.
That's sad. But cats are
Yeah.
pretty finicky like that. You have to be very specific with them. Like when you're
Well, I mean, he's kind of like he's neutral about it. Like he's just like whatever. I'm just here, and it's the other cats that just are not fans of him, I suppose.
yeah.
So,
Well, I was gonna ask, since you've kind of gone into like typology and stuff, what have you kind of learned about yourself and other people that you find beneficial?
I think that probably, typology, it's useful to, first and foremost, it's useful sort of getting a handle on trying to understand yourself, and then sort of by proxy that extends to other people, because I think that the two are sort of intertwined. We sort of come to know ourselves through other people, and we come to know other people through ourselves. It's kind of at least that's how I see it anyway, because you don't really know like how you react to a certain situation until you put yourself in that situation, just as an example, right? So say that you're talking to a new person or something like that, and well, uh, that's oddly descriptive of what's happening right now. Pretty much, I think that you can kind of bounce your ideas off of other people, and sort of like hone them, and that helps develop like an understanding. And so I don't know, this is just really rambly at this point. It doesn't even really relate to honest, but I'm sorry I paused a lot. I kind of just have to stop and think about what I'm saying.
That's okay. I pause a lot too. I think in regular conversations, but I think you're right about a lot of that. I think really kind of I think some people just get into typology and like they'll study their type and that's it, and they kind of don't really interact with other people or kind of see the similarities or differences, and or they kind of use technology as like this end all be all. Like they're like, oh well, I'm a ISTP, I have to be friends with these people or whatever.
Yeah, like, oh, this is the truth, the only truth.
Yeah, and that can be very problematic.
I mean, it's, yeah, I mean, it gets to be honest, because it's really putting everyone into a box like that, and then you just kind of throw everything else to the wind, pretty much. But I mean, at the same, I mean, you know, obviously there are certain tendencies that you can observe in people, and that, you know, they can sort of be categorized, but it's not the categories. The people are in the categories. They might fit under an umbrella, but they aren't, you know, everything under that umbrella. They're just within the scope of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Sorry.
That was sudden.
Oh yeah, no, that's what happens when you're allergic to cats. And you live with cats too, so.
Yeah, I pity you. My mom is allergic to cats, and she's the same way.
Really?
Loves them to death, but they make her super itchy and sneezy and all that.
Yeah.
But this one here, I'm gonna, or I don't know. Okay, hold on. I don't. It's because this is a laptop. It's kind of hard to position the camera.
Oh yeah.
But the cat that's on my lap right now, little gray cat, she hardly sheds at all, and she doesn't make my mom like she doesn't make her allergies act up.
Well, that's good. Sorry,
Yeah.
I don't know why I have this computer on me. My feet are asleep. So,
You look. I mean, you're probably like really comfortable, I guess, or something.
yeah. How would you describe yourself like growing up and stuff?
How would I describe myself growing up? Uh, I would unapologetically describe myself as weird, and I sort of actively tried to be. Um, I was into like for a long time. I was really obsessed with cheese, and yeah,
That's so random.
and I would have like little cheese facts that I would just unload in random conversation. Be like, hey, did you know that they use this kind of bacteria to, age this particular kind of cheese? And the smelliest cheese in the world is called stinking bishop's cheese, in case you were wondering.
That's a good fact to know.
Yep.
That's crazy. So, I've never heard of anybody, especially a child, being obsessed with cheese to that degree. That's pretty impressive in a lot of ways. I thought you were gonna say something like, "Oh, I used to be really into like I don't know, comic books or some type of like more stereotypically like weird thing to like."
Yeah, it's funny
Jeez.
you mentioned books because when I was, that's another inspiration for why I actually wanted to start drawing. I wanted to make comic books.
Oh,
I never read comic books. I wanted to make them.
I love that though. I can see
I
being
don't know. I guess I've always been sort of creatively driven in some way or another. I also, you probably wouldn't tell just by looking at me or by just kind of talking to me, but I used to do musicals as well. Um, I don't really do them anymore, but I did them just before I started middle school over the summers. I did Cats. I did Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. I did 101 Dalmatians. And I think I did one other. I did Hercules. That was pretty fun. I was Hades. They painted my hair blue and made it stand up.
wow. That's that's crazy. That's awesome though. Do you have any photographic proof of this?
Do I have any photographs?
I would like to see it.
I wish. I think I have some. I think I might have one from when I did Cats. I was magical Mr. Mistopheles.
I don't know who that is. I mean, I know what Cats is, but I've never seen it.
Uh, well, magical Mr. Mistopheles is like a black and white. He's like one of those cats that looks like he's wearing a tuxedo, and he's like a happy like magician cat or whatever. And oh well, never was there ever a cat so clever as magical Mr. Mistopheles. Da, 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 da.
Oh wow, this is a very unexpected um turn. So as far as Cats goes, I don't really. I guess for the people that haven't seen that play, what is it about? Besides the obvious.
It's about cats.
So it's just about cats and that's it?
Yes, the name is self-descriptive.
Okay. I didn't know. I didn't know if there was like some other plot line to it or if it was just like
Uh, to be honest, I don't even really know what the actual plot line of the original play is, but it's pretty much just like they're all getting together and they're like telling stories or whatever, something like that. And It's like, oh, look at this cool character, and look at this cool character. They all get a musical number. It's Oprah. You get a musical number. You get a musical number.
Oh
And
my gosh.
mm-hmm.
It's interesting. Yeah, I always thought there might have been like a plot line behind it, but
Honestly, there probably is, and I'm probably like, if there's anyone watching right now who's like a big fan of cats and knows what the plot line is, forgive me, but I'm pretty sure it's just cats.
okay. Interesting. What was your favorite play that you did?
Um, ooh, that's a tough one. It's probably between cats and and Hercules, because playing Hades was super fun. I still remember that opening line. Well, well, well. How sentimental. I haven't been this choked up since I had a hunk of lasagna caught in my throat. Yeah. Anyway.
Oh, it's very interesting. I feel like there's a lot of things about you that people would be surprised about. What else? What other things maybe kind of a little bit out there or something people wouldn't necessarily
A little
expect?
bit out there. Um, I always grew my hair out when I was younger. Um, it was only recently, actually, earlier this year, that I finally cut my hair. Um, and I cut it for my brother's wedding because he wanted me to be the best man, and I had to look like not like a hobo, pretty much.
We've all been there before. I've looked like a hobo as well.
Uh,
What's the longest you've had your hair?
Probably just like probably about to where the bottom of this necklace is,
Okay.
like a foot and a half, maybe something like that.
And that's still pretty long. So,
Yeah, it's pretty long.
yeah.
I want to grow it out again, but
Well, I mean, you can take some of my hair. I might cut it off. I might just go like
why?
nippy. What?
Why would you cut it off?
No, I'm just joking. I probably will.
I mean, maybe, I don't know.
The
Hey,
shortest
look.
I've ever cut my hair was like up to here.
I mean, on the subject of hair, I I guess I just wanted to mention right now, like, your natural hair color is just amazing.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, I mean, I have auburn hair, so just
Yeah,
lay it where I guess my parents.
yeah, like that, I guess, or something.
Yeah, it's so my dad has like dark brown hair, almost black hair. He actually looks like he's like Middle Eastern. So maybe I can find the photo that I'm referring to. It's kind of, and then my mom is just like very white, um, and has like her natural hair color is like strawberry blonde. So
Mm.
supposedly that combination makes auburn hair.
I can see that, honestly, because like a really dark brown with just a slightly red blonde would pretty much add up to that.
Yeah, so I appreciate that. I used to hate when I was younger. I used to hate being called a redhead. And actually, last year around this time, I like toned my hair. Like I didn't dye it, but I toned it like a brighter red. It's obviously not there anymore. This is back to like where my natural is, but that was interesting. I kind of by doing that, I kind of appreciated like my natural hair more. Um,
Yeah, I can see that.
so yeah, I used to hate when people would say I was a redhead. Like, no, I'm not. But, well, I was trying to find the picture. It's like taking forever. I'm like scrolling through my Instagram trying to find it.
Uh,
But just to kind of show the contrast of my dad and I.
right.
But as you got older, how do you think you kind of changed from your childlike state? Like when you were a child and kind of what what changes happened, or maybe what changes didn't as you got older? Does that question make sense?
Yeah, it can kind of. You're basically just asking like how would I say that I've changed as I developed?
Well, not even like right now. I would say even as like maybe a teenager. How do you think you changed from maybe a
A
child?
teenager. Well, to be honest, I I would say that when I was younger, I was a much happier person, and I was a lot more. You probably would have described me as a more lively person, um, but I think I mentioned this in one of my earliest comments. Um, when I was 15 years old, my sister passed away from cancer, and just kind of watching that happen and just I guess coming to realizations about certain aspects of life just fundamentally changed me. And pretty much since then I've been a lot more hmm, maybe not realistic, but just more grounded, I guess. I used to be more of a dreamer than I am now, I think. But not to say that I'm not a dreamer now, because I totally am. I I just I just was crushed a little bit, I suppose, and I think that ultimately that was probably a good thing.
Why do you think it was a good thing?
Hmm?
Why do you think it was a good thing?
Why do I think it was a good thing? I don't know. Maybe it's not really a good thing, but it's just looking for silver linings. Because I think about, I guess like what meaning could be derived from it, right? Tragedy is meaningless, so it's up to us to find meaning in it. And if you succeed in doing that, then you become a better person. Or at least you can you can convince yourself of something. I'm not really sure where I'm going with this, to be honest.
You know, I, I think that was, I think, I mean, it's hard that you had to go through that, but I think that's solid advice for anybody, especially, I guess, in lieu of yesterday, just the sense of like feeling lost and stuff, and feeling,
Yeah,
you know, that's always a tough one. Um, how old was your sister when she died?
20.
Wow, so she was 5 years older than
Yeah,
you.
yeah. It was weird. It was weird hitting my 21st birthday and realizing that I just turned a year older than she got to be.
Wow. When was she diagnosed with cancer?
2008. Um, she had she had a cyst removed, a big old. It was a huge, like the size of a melon cyst that she had removed because she was having a lot of back pain, and it was kind of in her abdomen. When they removed it, they discovered that it was cancer, and they diagnosed her with ovarian cancer. The next Over the next like couple years, she had a couple of surgeries. She had her ovaries removed, then she had her uterus removed. She went in for chemotherapy like every other week for about a year and a half. She had radiation therapy. She had a lot. We went with her for both of her surgeries. I went with her a couple of times for chemo, but I was in school at the time, so I couldn't go with her all the time. Several times she went by herself. She just drove herself, drove back feeling like shit because she had chemotherapy literally like hours prior when she was driving home. And then, I don't know, it's ridiculous. But when I think one of the things that is so eye-opening about knowing someone who is terminally ill, you always look at those people. They always have a certain energy about them, a certain kind of spark that seems missing in so many people. And I think that's because they know that they're on borrowed time. They know that their time here is finite, and everyone knows that their time here is finite to some degree. But they have a deadline. And so because of that, I think that just sort of flips a switch in their brain, and they're just like, well, I got to enjoy it while it lasts. And so she was always like, honestly, I say this a lot when I talk about my sister, but she was such an amazing person. And I really just wish the world could have known who she was, because she was awesome. She wanted to bake and make cupcakes and stuff like that. And oh my God, I'm sorry. This is
Sorry. Well,
this.
you know me, so don't pay attention. Don't pay attention to emotional Emily.
Oh, I feel bad now.
Don't feel bad. Don't feel bad. I love hearing this story. You know how I cry very easily.
Okay, all right, all right, all right. So she wanted to open up a bakery and make cupcakes and brownies and all kinds of baked goods for people. And she was incredibly incredibly smart and very witty. Um, and we grew up in a household where my dad wasn't, I think probably the last word that you would describe my dad with is supportive. He was pretty much the antithesis of supportive. He was always angry, and I suppose my sister was short tempered as well. The apple didn't fall very far from the tree in that regard. But we she was always really good at predicting what it was that he was going to want at any given time, and she would just sort of proactively take care of it so that he wouldn't blow up. And that was something that neither me or my brother would ever be very good at. In particular, my tactic has always just been, well, I'm gonna find like a little spot that I can crawl into, and I'm just gonna weather out the storm, and just no one's even gonna know where I am. But no, not her. She was definitely better in that regard. So, I mean, I I could go on and on. Every year, then I write like a big old paragraph about all the things that I can think of about what I can remember, and it's just it's bittersweet at this point. I mean, on the one hand, it's never really not going to be sad, but in a weird way, it kind of just makes me happy to think about it. because that's all I really have anymore is just memories.
What was your favorite memory with
Hmm. It's my favorite memory. I don't know. Probably, I don't think I could narrow it down to a favorite memory, but I think probably the most vivid memories that I have are just sitting in her bed with her while she was playing Fallout on the Xbox, and I would just kind of chill and watch what she was doing. We were both into the game, so. Or actually, we would play Monopoly sometimes, and she got me into playing Magic the Gathering. That was pretty cool. Um, I don't know. She was really quite the character. I think you would have liked her.
Yeah, I think so too. That's such a shame.
And yeah, it really is. But say la vie.
Well, maybe to lighten the mood for people, um, let's look at the. Have you looked at the actual live stream on YouTube yet?
Yeah, I brought it up a minute ago, and I'm just kind of skimming through it now. Yeah, giant robot, my lives matter. The INTP is not your father. um, or can we get beyond good and evil? Yeah, I mean, maybe, but good and evil are kind of it's a dichotomy. We understand one by understanding the other, so I maybe we can't move past good and evil. Um, hello, hello, hello. What labels negate me, or what labels me negates me? Yeah. Question. Is there a question in here at all? Doesn't look.
Joey asked said, "Hey Emily, I cannot stick around too long, but I wanted to say hello. Also, you should ask Bentley the following question." What, Mom? Okay, I'll do that certain thing in a little while. Okay. So my mom wants me to scoop the cat litter box right now.
Okay.
So I don't know if you heard that in the background.
I
So
didn't hear that.
what?
I I heard her kind of hollering in the background. I didn't hear the specifics, but
Oh, well, she didn't say specifically. She's like, Pumpkin wants you to do a certain thing. So, what we can do is if you want to answer Joey's question while I'm gone, or just like find a way to entertain the comments, maybe people will ask you questions.
sure. Yeah, I can answer that. I can answer that question. Okay. Do I consider myself to be a natural philosopher? Um, yeah, I guess so. I think that probably, in some ways, everyone is a philosopher, right? Because everyone has their own mentality and their own sort of ideas about life and just how everything sort of fits together. Um, it probably comes a little bit more naturally to me than other types, but I think that it's something that can be developed, and that everyone probably should develop. So my Enneagram type, um, My Enneagram type is 9 wing 1. That might also be a surprise, or maybe not. I feel you. I lost my brother when I was 12 in 2004. Oh man. Hey, that's rough, man. It's it's tough. It's tough losing someone that you expect is going to be a pretty consistent part of your life. Uh, so, you know, share the love, man. Um, Tragedy is failure. Failure is necessary for success. Yeah, it is. I mean, tragedy isn't necessary. Well, tragedy isn't always failure though, because tragedy can happen without reason. Uh, like, just as an example, let's say that your house gets struck by lightning and it burns down to the ground. Is that your failure? No, that's just nature. Uh, but it is still tragic. It's a tragedy, and so it's a meaningless tragedy unless you can attribute some kind of meaning to it.
Sorry. Sorry I had to do that.
Yeah, it's all good. Not a big deal.
Did you get to answer some questions?
Yeah, I kind of just rambled a little bit about, what is a philosopher and that kind of stuff. And then he wanted to know what my Enneagram type, and I was like, yeah, I'm a 9 wing 1. And he's like, hey, I'm also a 9 wing 1. Beautiful. What are my religious views? Well, I mean, I don't think I'm gonna be that guy and just be like, well, I'm not religious, but I am actually a spiritual person. Um, I guess, religiously speaking, I'm agnostic, but I think that all kinds of theology are fascinating. And I think that they are also probably fundamentally tied in some way. I think that ultimately they're all interpretations of what is essentially the same thing, and I think that religion, just sort of as a concept, exists primarily to make people happy, and so because of that, I can't say that it's a bad thing.
Yeah. Joey commented again.
Well, yeah, but that's the fact that the house got destroyed by lightning, yes, but it's not a failure. It's just, well, I guess it could be a failure of the construction if you want to go that deep, but it's kind of, you can't really predict that. I mean, the way you prevent lightning is by building a lightning rod. You just make something that's taller to attract the lightning away from whatever it is you don't want to get struck by lightning.
Okay, this is just a random question, but what would you say is your biggest regret?
My biggest regret, wasted time. Just any kind of time wasted. And that might be a little bit too broad, but out of high school, okay, so I graduated early from high school at age 17, and I didn't go to college, and I didn't get a job for like 3 years. I wasted pretty much all of that time, but not really. I mean, I was doing things, but I wasn't really doing what could conventionally be considered productive. And kind of looking back on it, I feel like I may have wasted that time. And so that's probably one of my biggest regrets. Other than that, I think probably, I mean, perhaps one of my biggest regrets is that I didn't talk more to people in general that I no longer talk to, and I never asked questions that I wanted to ask because I was too afraid.
That's interesting. Why do you think you were afraid?
And I was probably just anxious. Perhaps I was afraid of judgment or being being misunderstood.
Yeah. This kind of interesting. Joey just asked another question. He said, "Good question for James. How do you relate to indecision?"
Question. How do you relate to indecision? Uh, I'm probably one of the most indecisive people that I know, but that doesn't say much because I don't know a lot of people. So, how do I relate to indecision? Um, I I tend to be indecisive because I want to consider all angles or all possibilities before coming to a conclusion. I don't like I don't like that feeling of leaving a stone unturned. And so because of that, it might seem like I'm being indecisive, but the reality is I'm just looking.
Yeah.
I'm looking for the answer or whatever decision that I'm trying to come to.
What would you say is your biggest dream?
Sorry, can you repeat that?
Oh, I said what would you say is your biggest dream?
My biggest dream? Hmm. 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 I think probably my biggest dream is a dream that I've had for a very long time. I want to be. I want to be like. I guess my dream is to be the one of the major concept artists of an RPG that is seeking to do something out of the ordinary, and I want to be able to I want to be able to breathe life into I want to be able to breathe life into fantasy and sort of I guess make the things that I dream of an experience that I could share with the world. It's probably what my biggest dream is.
Wow, that is a big dream. But I think anybody, if you really go after your dream, you can do it. Um, it's just it's hard, especially if you feel like you're not in a position right now. You know, it's very easy to compare yourself to other people. Um,
Yeah.
What kind of things are you doing to like help you achieve that?
What kind of things am I doing to help me achieve that? Well, as of late, I'm not doing. I haven't been. I've been kind of neglecting my craft, I guess, if you could call it that, because I've been working a lot lately. I do IT work, and the hours can be pretty brutal sometimes. Like tonight, tonight my boss wanted me working until 1 in the morning laying cable, and I was just like, I kind of had plans, and it was honestly incredibly awkward trying to explain what I was going to be doing right now because I was like, well, it's like an interview. And he's like, you're looking for another job? And I'm like, no, I'm not looking for another job. I just want to talk to someone. I just want to talk to people.
Just some crazy girl on the internet that wants to interview me.
Yeah, exactly. Right?
Um, I think Joey's asking all the questions tonight. It seems like Joey should have just I should have just grabbed Joey from where we grew up and just knocked on his door and be like, "All right, Joey, come on and do the interview."
Right?
Yeah, Joey
I
has some more questions for you.
Did any early gaming experiences or experiences with films inspire you? Perhaps you get. Okay, yeah. Actually, one of the biggest inspirations that I had was EverQuest. I remember, and it's not even like the game itself, although that is also cool. Just like having a world to explore and the sense of wonder of exploring it. That's probably one of the biggest things. Is like I look back and I think on what kind of just sort of awe that I felt as this young person seeing these things for the first time and just being amazed at what could be made by people. And I thought, and as I kind of grew older, I thought about that some more. And I think that art is in some like art is in many ways fuel for further inspiration, but I think that one of the greatest things about being an artist or just the idea of being an artist is that what you're giving back isn't really something tangible. What you're giving back is a sense of wonder. You're trying to give people that sort of that pull, that sort of pull to look deeper and to think about it and to look at it from a different angle, or I think that's kind of what I what drives me a lot of the time is I want to be able to give back that sense of wonder that I once had to someone else.
No, I think that makes sense. I think actually that's pretty commendable too, because I think a lot of people want to do certain things just for the fact that they did it. Whereas it seems like with you, you really care about how people are going to be able to relate to it, and you know the impact that it will have in their lives. Um,
Yeah. Elder Scrolls, yeah, that's another really great one. Elder Scrolls are just awesome. The lore behind Elder Scrolls, if you ever just read into that, is super weird but super cool. So, sorry, I feel like I've been more attentive to chat as of late.
that's okay. I mean, I have to go soon, anyways. I
Oh, okay.
I have to go by 9:30, but um, if
Okay.
I mean, I can ask you more questions, or we can look at the chat. Maybe some people will ask you more, uh, some other different questions. Or if you want to ask me a question, you can do that. Whichever, you can choose whichever one you want to do. So
Hmm.
I think the live stream lags just a little bit, so people don't
Oh yeah,
follow.
there's a stream. There's with any stream, there's typically a 15 to 30-second delay.
Yeah.
Um, you probably know that though.
Yeah.
Well, they asked me about what my religious views are, and I kind of elaborated on that. I guess one thing that I've wondered is I know that you're Catholic. Have you always been Catholic? Is that just how you were raised?
Um. Yes. So I was. So Joey actually. So Joey goes to the same church. Well, we went to the same church growing up. He actually grew up in the same city I did, and so I've seen Joey at church before, at mass, should I say? Um, but yes, I did grow up Catholic, and I mean I've been Catholic my whole life. Uh, I was confirmed and all the whole 9 yards of everything. Um, but it's something like I obviously don't talk about too much on my channel just because I don't want it to be like I don't want people to feel uncomfortable because I know religion can sometimes be that way.
Yeah.
I try not to. I mean, I'm not. If you know me in real life, I don't really talk about religion that often. Like I don't. I mean, unless I was in my church or something, like I'm not going and telling people I'm Catholic. I'm like like I'm not skipping around and like throwing the Bible everywhere. Like that's not um what I do. But yeah, I do believe in God, and I do believe that Jesus was the savior. And I like the traditions of Catholicism.
Do you
Um,
believe that um, do you believe that there's like convincing evidence just in the world, like in phenomena and stuff like that, for God and all that?
um, well, I guess it's hard for me to say that. Like for me, I don't. I mean, this sounds like for people that aren't religious, and I know people that are more emotional people that don't believe in God. But basically, I'm not saying I do think that there is certain things that are are evidence, but some people may not think of. Like I think a lot of the good in the world is evidence, and that's not really. I guess that's not really concrete. I don't know how to describe that. Like
Hmm.
what I'm trying to say. Um,
I
yeah.
mean, I guess the problem with that is that one could argue that all the evil in the world is evidence to the contrary. But I mean, potato, potato. It's all just. I don't think that there's really a good argument one way or the other, to be honest.
Well, I guess I shouldn't just say the good in the world. And the thing is, it's this is where it gets like it treads the line with people because I mean I do have like I obviously do have certain opinions about things, but I'm kind of like avoiding talking about like certain things because I think certain people get upset when you say like um, things were meant to be. I think like that's kind of a hard place to say because I don't know why your sister died. I don't know why, my papa died. I don't know why, like, these bad things happen. Um, But I guess if we want to talk on a more broad sense, where I stand the most is I just don't think that these things happened. And I do believe in evolution. I think it plays a role hand in hand. But I guess that's kind of my way of talking about religion without really getting into the specifics of what I
Hmm.
personally believe. But yeah, I am Catholic. I do believe in God, and um, yeah.
I mean, for like honestly, for all the things that have happened to me, I probably should believe in miracles because I was in a bad car accident on the highway, and I walked away from it completely unscathed.
Wow, what happened?
I was pulling a car. Um, I was pulling a car behind the car that I was driving on a hitch on the highway, and I was driving behind this one white car that was riding his brakes, and then all of a sudden he slams on his brakes. Because I'm pulling the car behind me, I don't have that much time to brake, so I tried to lane switch over. When I lane switched, I was going too fast, and so I lost control and I started fishtailing. And by the end, like probably 10 seconds later, my car is facing oncoming traffic on the highway with a ton of traffic on the highway in the middle of Phoenix. And the car that I was pulling behind me is to the right of my car against another car that's against another car against the median. And what happened? Nothing. That if there was a truck on the highway there, I would be dead right now, and probably a lot of other people would be dead right now. But I'm not, so that's cool,
Or
I guess.
I'm just kidding. Am I talking to a ghost?
Or am I? Ooh, I'm haunting your internet screens.
But yeah. Well, James, I really enjoyed talking to you, and maybe we can do this some other time. I don't know when, because I think both of us have kind of busy schedules in our own way.
Yeah,
But eventually, I think I'm going to revisit people that I've interviewed before or talked with. Um, so if you're ever interested in doing another video,
oh yeah, honestly, I'd like to have another chat. I mean, this has been pretty enjoyable.
yeah, and if you ever want to just talk, I mean, we can also, it wouldn't be as rigid of a schedule or whatever. Um, if you just want to talk briefly on, you know, Skype or something, I'm fine with that as well.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, that would be cool.
So yeah, I will. So I guess that's the end. Wait, let's look at the chat and make sure that we're not
Oh
missing.
yeah, let's look one more time, shall we? Spooky ghost. We experience the world from our consciousness. From this arises philosophical problems associated with the nature of who we are. We are a mystery to ourselves fundamentally. Yeah, we are. Um, it's not really possible in the strictest sense to know thyself. It's kind of like exploring a cave system that just sort of keeps on going down, and the deeper you go, the darker it gets. But there's always more to find out, I think.
Um, so Nolan asked if what your favorite book is.
My favorite book. My favorite book is I don't know if you've ever read the Pendragon series, but my favorite book is the second book from the Pendragon series. It's called The Lost City of Far, and I think probably the thing I like most about that series is that the world building in it is just so unique.
I haven't. I don't think I've ever heard of that before. Maybe I have. Sounds interesting.
It's pretty cool. I read it's a 10-book series. I read the entire thing in middle school.
Oh, wow. How long are the books?
Anywhere from I have one of them here. I can tell you how much that one in particular is. I know that the last one was right about 1,000 pages.
Wow.
Here, this is the 7th book. This is like the only one that I actually bought because all the other ones I just borrowed. Pendragon.
I think I have seen that before, actually.
Yeah, it's written by DJ McHale. He did Are You Afraid of the Dark on Nickelodeon back in the 90s.
Oh, I mean, we were pretty young when that show came out, but I remember watching reruns of it or like watching it like as a younger child. Um, what? So someone else asked, Logan J asked, who is someone you look up to?
Uh, who is someone that I look up to? Um, I look up to. Uh, well, I mean, I guess it's kind of cheesy, but I still look up to my sister, even though um, I guess there's not a lot to go off of anymore. But I look up to, I think probably one of my biggest inspirations is uh, hmm. I guess like if I want to go like with artists, like historical artists, I really like Picasso. Um, and hmm, I don't know. I haven't really thought about that, to be honest. Someone that I really look up to. Huh.
That is a hard question.
It's not something that I've really considered all that much, to be honest. I mean, I guess I could be like really egocentric and say, hey, I look up to myself.
I mean, might as well. I feel like one day people might be like, wow, that James Bentley is a pretty cool guy. Like, you may get a lot of people, especially if you do end up pursuing your dreams. And they end
Hmm.
up
I think I'm content to just be that guy who knows a thing or two about a thing or two.
knows a thing
But that's neither. Huh?
knows a thing or two about cheese.
Sure.
I still think that's so funny that you were obsessed with cheese.
Yeah, I was really into cheese. That was a thing. You can ask anyone who knew me back then. I was the cheese guy.
Well, I think on
Okay. It's like just under a 500-page book, so
that's not bad.
no.
Well, it's been really fun, and we should definitely talk soon. What does it say? Oh,
All right, yeah, sure. I mean, yeah, no, this honestly has been pretty great. I wasn't really sure what to expect, and I kind of I kind of had to talk myself up to it a little bit before because I was just I don't know. I didn't really want to put myself out there, I guess, but here I am.
putting yourself out there to the world. Yeah, but
Get
I
on me.
I try not to be. Well, I feel like these interviews are pretty chill, anyways.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I kind of just go with what feels right at the time. Um, I mean, I still, like I said, I do have questions in mind, but I don't like, I'm not like listing things out one after the other, so to speak.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I hope everybody is having a great night or morning or afternoon, wherever you are in the world. And any last words from you?
Um, any last words from me? Live long and prosper.
Well, on that note,
That's
that's
bad. Man, let's get a do-over. Yeah. I got nothing.
got nothing. Well, it's been a pleasure. And yep, I will talk to you shortly. Um, great. Bye, guys.
Okay, yeah. Take care.